It says we're live. Can they see us? I see Sarah Lee. I see Katie. I see Perla. I see Carrie. I see Daniel.
I feel like
Jen.
I'm in the romper room.
Yeah, there's Perla and Daniel. Hey, did you all know this is the first time that Michael has ever hosted
Woohoo!
a live
Congrats.
ever? This is the first live on The.Cult.Of.Vintage. And we have this woman below me to thank, who was so incredibly gracious to share her idea of the Vintage Rescue Squad and said, Michael, I think that you should host this. And I was like,
You're going to host it every other week.
I guess so.
If you want.
Of course. There's Randy Girl.
Randy Girl. I have to say, it's kind of nice not being in the driver's seat sometimes. Because, like, if anything like blows up, it'll be like, oh, poor Michael.
Yes, Vicky, that is what we are here to do. Wow, the chat goes really fast. Okay.
It does.
We see that.
Where's the free champagne,
Okay.
Carrie?
So where's the
Looking in the chat. Hi guys.
Somebody lied to you, Carrie. Somebody lied. There's our girl Amy and Karen.
Amy.
Oh,
Hey, Amy.
hey, Dagny girl.
Hey, Dagny. Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
Moderna. LaDonna, I might have gotten something in the Viking category for tomorrow's sale. Just saying.
Oh, I saw a baby.
Oh, Sarah.
We saw Sarah's
Yes.
baby.
Yes, he just got passed on to Daddy. He's going to sling.
Get him out of here.
I know he's got to go. He wanted to come and whine and talk to everybody, so he had to go.
Do our guests get labels free? Oh, wait. Okay, well, let's take this off. There they are. Yeah, they're up there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, of course. Hello, I'm Michael Todd. Welcome to The.Cult.Of.Vintage. Thank you for joining us. Again, I do want to first take the opportunity to thank Misty again for sharing this. It is truly an honor. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much, lady.
You are so welcome.
Aw, yeah.
She's a good egg. She's a good egg. So today we have two very special guests. So we'll do it like normal. We'll just go around. To us, we're going to go around clockwise. I think it's going to be counterclockwise to you guys out there watching. So without further ado, Sarah, if you want to take it away, introduce yourself, tell us where we can find you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm Sarah, and I am the Traveling Button. I have been selling vintage on Instagram for almost 7 years now, and created a network for vintage sellers on Instagram that are wanting to grow their shops. And we have a pretty great bunch of people. We are now over 500 shops, and I love ISN. So shout out to our ISN peeps, right, Allison?
Absolutely.
Yeah, great network of people on Insta. That's my main platform that I sell. And I just launched my YouTube channel yesterday, The Traveling Button. So I'm super excited just to get my feet wet over here and visit with you guys. And yeah, I'm just thrilled to be here. So thank you guys for the invite. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And below Sarah, we have...
And I'm Allison from Skeleton Keys in the Closet, and I am one of the many shops that Sarah referenced. So this lovely community of vintage sellers, I was fortunate enough just to join in last April, so just about a year now. But I've been a vintage nut for a long time. And as we probably all have the problem of collecting, we have to kind of exchange things that, you know, what one comes in and one goes out, or at least I try to keep that ratio. So, and then probably around November, my husband kind of pushed me over the edge and said, you need to start doing live sales, because we were seeing all these great live sales on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. And I am not in the camera kind of girl. Like I'm the, let me take your picture. Like, but it's just amazing. I've shared this with Sarah. I think I've shared this with you, Michael. Like, I think live sales have really changed my relation. It's more relationships now versus transactions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's truly, like I've said for the longest time, that I feel like the community in Instagram, and again, I'm a newbie to YouTube, so this is not, there's no reference, but from previous platforms I've sold, there was no relationship. And so the community is just such a great place to learn. And you get to know people as people and not just a buyer. So, and then you start like hunting for people. Like you're like, oh, Michael likes those weird dolls. Or, you get to know and you're like, okay. And if they don't like it, then there's usually someone else that does. So it's just been a really fun, and in COVID, of course, I think Stephanie and Mark talked about this a couple weeks ago, that it's just been a really great place, in my opinion, for vintage has always been my therapy, but now vintage plus Instagram or vintage selling has just been like, so yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And you know what? I mean, we'll give her her time to introduce herself, but the woman needs really no introduction, does she, folks? But go ahead. Go ahead, Misty. If you don't know who the woman is, I don't know. But
Well, I'm Misty, and I love vintage, and I love this community. And I think that Allison hit the nail on the head. It is so much fun, though, this sense of community where we're going out and we know our customers, we know what things to source for and to look for. And honestly, it makes it a lot more fun for us to go out and go buying things, because when you see something, you're like, I know someone that will like that, or I know like 5 people that will like that, that's kind of the fun thing too. So yeah, it is very much, you kind of feel like you're almost, I guess, in a sense, a personal shopper in some way. And it's just as therapeutic to go out and find these treasures and know that you're going to bring them to somebody that will treasure them and add them to their collection and put them in their home. So it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yes.
yeah. And I think, you know what, and that is
Liberace of the reselling community.
That's great.
Oh, yeah,
I love that.
That is an honor. Because I love Liberace, y'all know.
Bring
So
the
that's an honor.
rhinestones. Yes.
everybody's on the hunt for like a sequenced like robe or jacket for Misty. So if you do find one, there's somebody who might be interested.
Okay.
Well, Tiger sent me a little Liberace dipping vessel. Well, it's an ashtray, but I can put sauce in it and I can dip it.
Ooh.
There you go.
Put sauce in it. I like
I can put sauce in it.
Well, so again, we're just because this is on the Cult of Vintage, at the end of the day, the concept is still the same. We didn't come with any kind of planned questions or any quote unquote topics of discussion other than the general, idea of vintage or reselling or collecting. So if you guys have comments, I can see your comments and I figured out how to put them up on the screen. So to make it easier for me, if you could put them in caps, that way it will stand out a little bit better for me. So yeah, I will keep an eye on that. But I think one question that I have for you is that, and I know, see, this is where it gets weird because we talk off screen and then I can't remember if the conversation we had off screen was on screen. But Sarah and Allison, what got you guys into the whole Instagram selling thing? Like, where did you start?
I know for myself, I started with craft shows and I was upcycling vintage jewelry from brooches and I was making those little 3D Christmas trees from brooches and doing craft shows. And my friend was like, you really should start thinking about selling those on Instagram. And I had an Instagram like personal account, but I didn't really realize that there was such a community on Instagram. And at the time there really wasn't. And for me, I felt like, okay, well, let's explore this. So I started listing my vintage jewelry that I was making on Instagram. And I only had about 700 followers at the time, and it just went terribly. Nobody was interested in my jewelry, and I didn't know what I was doing. And so one day I was out sourcing for jewelry, and I posted a figurine that was chained. It was a little lady with 2 poodles, and she was chained up. You know what I'm talking about, Misty,
Yeah.
right? Allison, yep.
Not one of those kind of chains. Yes.
Yes, one of the little chained figurine trios. Yes. So I happened to just post that I had seen it when I was out picking, and that my grandma had one, and I had like 3 people like, can I claim that? I want this. And I remember thinking, wow, that's really crazy. This is like stuff that I like, that I remember, just from nostalgia, growing up in the 70s and 80s, that my grandma had it on her vanity. And I thought it was super cute. So again, 3 people wanted it. I ended up selling it that day, and I was hooked. So then I started sourcing for vintage and learning to buy what I liked, just in case it didn't sell, because I still had very few followers at the time. And yeah, now I'm up to 23.6 thousand followers a few years later, and
You go,
intensely
Sarah.
grateful. And I have made so many neat friends here, and now I'm also coaching people to do the same thing I do. So I'm also the vintage shop coach on Instagram as well, to help people kind of pay it forward and get started, with maybe a few less kinks than I got started with, just figuring it out. And I love it. It's a wonderful metamorphosis of what I thought was just going to be a hobby with craft shows. You know what I mean? So, and now I'm full time doing this, as a reseller because of COVID. And my husband and I own a wedding photography business, and we've done that for 18 years. And that's great. But I am ready to sell vintage full time and move away from photography and do this. So that's my dream, and that's what I'm doing here. That's my story. I'm excited to hear Allison's, because I know she's a big enthusiast too.
Absolutely. And if it's okay, I see a couple questions about, can you join
Do-
ISN, and
Well, do you
how do
want
you sell on
to?
Instagram? I can certainly do mine, but I also want to facilitate that natural conversation. So I can wait if Sarah wants to kind
Okay.
of talk about that,
Would
because
you
I
want to
would
do that?
actually,
Because I saw Hope at Soda Pop Resale. Her comment jumped up there. So she was wondering, how can somebody go about joining the ISN network on Instagram?
absolutely, yes, come join us. So the prerequisites for membership are to have a shop on Instagram, listing prices directly on Instagram. So not sending somebody to an Etsy link or a Depop link. We want you actually listing a price on Insta, invoicing people through PayPal. And to get into ISN, we just ask that you have 10 to 15 items listed in your shop, that are current with pricing. And we do ask that you have some form of shop policies, just to protect you and your buyer. And that's pretty much it. So definitely, if you look at my Instagram account, The Traveling Button, I have a link tree in my bio, and you can find, the link to get to our Facebook sellers group, because we organize on Facebook. Unfortunately, it's not my favorite platform, but it's the best place to organize for a group this size. And we're over 500 sellers at this point. So,
Yeah.
we organize sales there, and you can sign up for sales. We do shop shares. We also have what are called engagement pods, which are really nice too, to grow your shop, especially when you're new. So there's a lot of different avenues and information. Plus, we have archives in ISN that have been there for years of information about shipping and, different people trying to identify brands. We also do Worth Point in ISN, which is nice. If you don't have a Worth Point account, we'll look it up for you. And that's really valuable to a lot of people as well that don't have a Worth Point account. You can come to ISN. My husband actually is the looker upper officially and does it for us, and tries to stay on top of that and get you your item looked up within 24 hours of you posting it. So again, just a lot of really cool stuff there. And those are the
I see some merch
prerequisites.
coming up with his face. It's like a big monocle and like the looker upper.
Can
Right?
I interrupt you really quick? I have a question for Misty. I am frozen on my end. If
Yeah,
I,
not on our end.
I
You can
know.
pop out, and you can come back in again. And
Okay.
we'll all still be here.
Okay.
Okay. I'm praying. Here we go.
You got
Y'all
this,
carry
Michael.
on.
Okay.
Oh God. Okay.
And I can speak to the joining ISN. And so I actually have to give kudos to Marcy, who you guys had as a guest a couple weeks ago, because Marcy and I sold mutually on another Facebook page. And, I kind of feel like it's one of those things where you see other sellers and you just love their style. And I was like, tell me more, like, where do you sell, where do you buy, etc. And so Marcy, Vintage Bulldog, was the one who said, hey, this is how to do it. And so it really is. And when Sarah says you just need like 15 items listed on your Instagram page, I had nothing listed. I was a brand new page on Instagram. And it really, like, I think it's the idea is you could be a vetted seller and just be selling elsewhere, or you could be a long-time collector and say, hey, I'm ready to start selling. And I really think it's a community that supports anyone in that spectrum. I think that's the thing too. When I say community, like, this is the first, I feel like oftentimes when you go to estate sales, like, people are throwing elbows. Like, you can see the same face on a regular basis and they're like, like, there is no community. Like, there's black eyes. I mean, maybe not, but the community, like, I truly say this for Instagram, like, I don't feel a level of competition. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like one of those things where you want to provide feedback if it's requested of you, but at the same time it's a very autonomous, which is a kind of, I think, a weird thing too, that you can be so independent but then at the same time be so supported in this group of people who are really, if you think about it, we're all trying to get all those hot items. So
Yes.
it's just a very interesting, like, dynamic that just happens, and it's very natural. I don't find it forced. Like, I think, Michael, you and I met through one of Marcy's first sales.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, who's this Cult.Of.Vintage? And then it's just like this banter and there's so many people who I feel like there's like, it's truly a friendship. So that joining Instagram Shop Network, it probably sounds like it's too easy, because it is that easy. I mean, and the other thing, to be honest, that I love about Instagram, I'm quite frugal. I want to have more money to spend on more vintage. So I don't want to pay eBay fees or Etsy fees or,
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
wherever else. So the fact that the only fees I'm paying is PayPal, and in my opinion, PayPal is, again, intended because it protects both the buyer and the seller. So
yes.
And so my story quickly is I was, went to garage sales as a kid. My grandmother would decorate for every holiday. And so vintage holiday is my thing. If you've ever joined a live sale, I always flip something to make it appropriate for seasonal or holidays.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if I have a favorite. Like, I feel like every season we get onto, I'm like, oh, vintage Easter is my favorite. But now I'm back to Christmas. Christmas is my favorite.
Halloween and Christmas are mine. Yeah.
Halloween is good, yes.
Absolutely. So, and I think it's one of those things where the more you look, then you randomly will stumble on these items that you're like, and they just get you perplexed. And I think that lifelong learner, like, what is this? And then just the art of Google, now you can find so much information. So, and then WorthPoint, of course, is a great resource too.
Yes.
So I think it's just like a little classroom, and I love the fact that these items have a story, like, I mean, if someone was to ever get Sarah's blood drink Kewpie somehow in another life, if they only knew the life that this Kewpie had before, so like, I just think some of these vintage items, like, they have a story. I think that's why I'm so drawn to them. So I'm an old soul.
I love that, Allison.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's always those grandparents too that get you. You know what I mean? That was the same for me. It was the grandparents that really. It was always going to the flea market every Sunday, getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning so you could be the first ones there, and we would go to 3 of them every single week. It was always the same.
Such good memories. Yeah, that's
isn't
so
it
cool.
though?
Yeah.
So Carrie did have a good question, and I am curious. Because before I did the Cult.Of.Vintage on my other Instagram page, I would resell vintage toys. So I was aware of ISN. But is there somebody that is credited with creating that initial ISN hashtag?
It was me about 7 years ago. I was in a sellers group that was on Facebook, and it wasn't conducive to the environment I was hoping to find, which was friendly to newbies. I was brand new. I had no idea what I was doing. And it just was not the group for me. They were very catty and I just wasn't into it. So I thought, if I'm going to do this and I'm going to try to have an Instagram shop to sell vintage, I really need a network behind me, because that is what is so unique about what we do is I could not do this by myself. I do not take all the credit for my success, because it truly is such a network of people. And when I created this, I wanted a place where there was no drama. First of all, we don't do drama there. If you come to bring it, you're probably going to be asked to leave or removed. That's just the way that goes. So I wanted, first of all, no drama. And I wanted a safe place for sellers also to be able to safely discuss buyers that were an issue. And I don't mean get catty and stupid with it, but if, so-and-so has not paid you for 4 weeks, likely they've done that to someone else. So that is something that we're able to discuss in our group is, we don't have a bad buyer list or anything like that. It's just if someone is having a problem with a customer, they can ask about it. And it never gets out of hand. We just give advice. Yes, I've dealt with so-and-so. They're going to take a little bit to pay. Hang tight. And we just all are able to exchange information and hashtags and sell under the ISN member item hashtag. So when I created that, I wish it would have been a lot shorter, but here we are now, 7 years later. And we now have over 300,000 listings on Instagram of vintage and handmade under ISN member item. And to me, that is the biggest success of ISN, is having this huge catalog that people can go shop. So I always let people know too, when they attend my live sales on Instagram, if you still want to go shopping and you're not done, check out ISN member item or hashtag. There's 300,000 listings to peruse from over 500 different shops. So it's a huge variety of styles. It's a huge variety of different sellers with different things. And the main, prerequisite is we want our ISN sellers to be quality people, using good business practices and shop policies, preferably PayPal, because it does protect the buyer and the seller. And so that's kind of how we started off, is just, we want to be credible, we want to be reputable, we want to be the group that everybody feels comfortable shopping with. Because when I first started this about 7 years ago, Instagram shopping was very new to many people. They didn't realize that you could actually claim an item, get invoiced for it, pay for it, and have it shipped to you so easily through our shops. They thought that you had to go through a website and do all this complicated stuff that you don't have to do. And so teaching people how to buy and teaching people how to shop hashtags was super important in creating the network, to be able to, when we have a specified sale, for instance, we have ISN Books and ISN Papery. That's a static sale every month. People sign up for the sale, and then they promote for the sale, either with a promo or a preview of what they're going to be selling in the sale.
Just to clarify, Sarah, when you say static versus live, I think we all know what a live means, is that we're literally,
Yes.
this is a live. What does a static post on Instagram mean?
Sure. A static sale means that I am posting photos of what's for sale. Okay. And then I have a description, I have a price, and then below that I have my hashtags. Hashtags are what your search terms are. So it's important to hashtag your items on Instagram so they get found and they get seen. So for instance, if I'm selling a Snoopy cup, I want to hashtag it with Charles Schultz, Peanuts, 1954, all the different Peanuts related hashtags, so I get found in those searches for people that might be looking for Peanut stuff or Snoopy stuff.
And I think there's a lot of people, especially that are our viewers on YouTube, that are very new and they don't quite understand hashtags and how they work. So I think that is in, as far as a lot of the people that are engaging and participating in our YouTube live sales, it's a very intimidating area for them because they don't understand necessarily, what are they talking about hashtags? What does that mean? Does that mean I have to type in? So could you explain that to them a little bit more about
how to search them?
How to shop them? You have your Instagram account. You've created an account. It's very easy to create an account.
Yes.
What do they need to do to find
vintage?
Vintage.
Yeah. Great question. So the easiest way is going to be in your search bar that you have on Instagram, just like any other app. In the search bar, type in vintage seller. Type in whatever you're looking for. I would prefer that you type in ISN member item, because
And it's
again, that's
Instagram Shopping Network.
yes,
Is what that.
ISN stands for Instagram Shop Network.
And can I just interject really?
ISN member item is the hashtag that denotes the item, is one of ours.
And I do want to, I guess, and I don't want to get too off topic, Sarah, but one of the reasons that I did want to have, and why you have seen Instagram sellers on Vintage Rescue Squad, is because we want to have people that are well established, that are reputable, that reside within the community, because we don't want to recommend to you, our YouTube viewers, to go on to a different social media site and have poor experiences.
Right.
So when you, as Sarah is saying, and I would recommend that you do search ISN member item, you
And
are
follow
going
it.
to, and follow it,
Good.
which you can. You're
Sarah,
going to,
or not Sarah, Stephanie, could you type that in? Could you type that hashtag in?
Thank you, Steph.
Either I see Amanda in here too, so maybe some of our viewers can maybe even write that down, and so when they're going in, they can search that hashtag.
Absolutely.
because you're
That
safe.
is the
There you go. Hey, thank you, Amy. Amy got it.
Yeah, that
Yes,
is the
Papa.
best way to safely shop all of our sellers. And that is also a way to know that you're shopping with someone that is going to be held accountable. We self-police our community. Thank you, Amy. And so what I mean by that is, if we do hear, and we all share the same bank of buyers for the most part. So if we hear that so-and-so isn't following through with orders, let's say, or it's taking them 4 weeks to ship their stuff, well, that's an issue, and we want to address that, and we want to make sure that the buyers are getting their items. And so our admin team, which Amy Hackworth, who just typed in ISN member item, she's a member of our admin team. Allison below me is also on our admin team. There's several of us that work together to police the community nicely, tactfully, just making sure that we're all doing what we need to be doing, because we do share buyers. And one bad experience with a buyer can turn people off to the whole network. So it's very important to me and our other sellers that we keep the reputation that we have. So we're pretty grateful for that. It's been built a long time. And yeah, that is the easiest, best way to get started on Instagram if you're wanting to shop as a buyer. Shop hashtags, shop ISN member item, shop vintage sellers, vintage community, Insta vintage. These are also really cool hashtags that you can search. And it may not be stuff for sale, but it may be really neat ideas to decorate your house.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It may be people's collections. There's
That's why I
gonna
say
be a
it's
lot of things that aren't for sale outside our ISN member item hashtag that you can also find. So
to me, Instagram is like, it's like a social media platform. So it's like a combination between a Facebook and Pinterest, because it's fine tuning. You're getting these ideas that, and I can't tell you how many times I have seen someone's photo on Instagram and I get inspired by that. And I'm like, okay. Therefore, I was really big on finding these brass candlesticks of different various sizes and just put them all in a grouping, because I had seen that on somebody's Instagram photo and I thought, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. So, and I think that though too, that, you know, if you are new to Instagram and you're wanting to go shopping and stuff on Instagram, any one of these ladies that you can go to them and you can send them a message. And I know that they would be grateful, or they'd be very helpful to help you, you know, kind of guide you a little bit.
Absolutely. I have people that message me every day. We also have, what I would love everybody, if you are interested in keeping up with when the ISN sales are, we have an actual dedicated ISN sales and info Instagram. So you can go to and follow ISN sales and info, and then you'll never miss when our live sales are, when our regular static sales are, which are the posts that are an item that you can buy with the word claim and then we send you an invoice. And what I do before all of my static sales is try to post my shop policies so people know how it works.
That is a very important thing, I think, too. And it protects you. It does protect you, because, and I think that it's really good though too. And I know that you guys a lot of times will encourage someone to say backup. Like if someone's claimed something in a static sale, and basically a static sale is just them posting pictures of something on Instagram, and the first person to leave a comment as claim it or mine or however
me,
mine,
me.
you know,
You can only use me, 2 letters. You don't want to put mine.
no,
Claim me.
just me, because it's faster. It's faster.
That's
Not me, please.
And I think that it's a good idea too to like do. And I've actually won some things by typing in backup. So I don't think that, you know, that you don't be discouraged if you're not the first one to claim it, because we all know that there are sometimes you don't hear back from a customer, and you know, then they're put on the list. You know, not really. I mean, like in your mind, you're like the list. But go ahead.
I was just going to offer too, and if someone's new to Instagram, the other thing I would just think is important for people to be mindful of, when you put in the search bar, you're going to get a feed. It's going to show you all these pictures, and it's going to be top and then recent. And I would just encourage you, if you're new to Instagram, you really probably want to go to recent, because you can see the best eye candy for top, but that might be a post from like 6 months ago that item is long gone. So I would encourage you're going to put whatever you're looking for. And I think there's been some questions about like you put like poodle pottery. I would encourage you, if you're here, you're probably into vintage poodles. So you're going to put hashtag vintage poodle, vintage pottery. You could try poodle pottery, but I'm going to tell you as a seller, you don't always choose to utilize hashtags that don't have a lot of pings on them. So you can put the craziest, funkiest description and you might get what you're looking for. But I would just encourage that you're kind of looking for some general areas like mid-century decor or MCM for sale or vintage for sale. And then, of course, like Sarah said, and not to keep saying it, but this community that we're a part of and, of course, encouraging. Or if you're like, hey, I do want to start watching live sales on Instagram, we have a group of live sellers on our Instagram. So there's lots of hashtags and you'll learn them. You can just watch certain pages and see, like if you're like, hey, that's a really great item, I've never seen it before. You can look at the hashtag that person uses, and then that will give you ideas for additional ways to search. So it's kind of like, I'm going to be honest, it's kind of like TikTok videos or other things that you're like, oh my God, what happened to the past 3 hours? You can go down a very slippery slope.
The next thing you know, you're like, I'm in September and this is May. What happened?
Where am I? Who am I?
Right. And you might have 5 things that you were looking for that you haven't been able to find on eBay or Etsy. And you will find some people do cross post. They might have a, here's my link. And if that's the case, you might have to go up to their profile. But as far as ISN, most of us are all like, our items are typically on Instagram Shop Network and Instagram only. And then the other thing that we've started recently is also trying to ripple over to Facebook, because I think for whatever reason, people are not alone if they're reluctant to join Instagram. It kind of has like this, you know, that the fear factor
for the young people.
Right.
Allison,
but I think it's, go ahead, Sarah.
I was just going to say, Allison started our Facebook flash group too, which is another way to find us and buy from our network of sellers on Facebook. Allison can kind of describe, go ahead, Allison, and talk about that group. So, but it's pretty awesome.
So again, because unfortunately I was so tunnel visioned for so long and largely a Facebook buyer and seller, I had shared with Sarah, like, hey, how can we spread the ripple? So every Sunday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern, usually around 15 sellers, all have between 15 and 30 items. And we do something called a flash sale. So all of our items are listed within 45 minutes. So if you're not looking for that time investment of like, I don't have 3 hours to get lost in Instagram.
Or live sale.
Or live sale, right. You could go to, so it's called on Facebook, it's Instagram Shop Network, Facebook Flash Sales. That's our Facebook umbrella.
And I know that a lot of people are probably watching and their heads are spinning right now. They're like,
Right?
"Oh,
It's a lot of info.
it is a lot." And I was having this discussion with Sarah last night. I said, it, because I too, the hashtags they take me a little bit, but it's a lot of remembering, and I don't remember things. So I've got my notebooks. You can have your notebooks and you write down everything, because I'm still old fashioned. I write everything down. But after a while, once you start typing in those search fields in Instagram, those kinds of things will start popping up, and then you won't even have to necessarily search for them necessarily. You'll
be just what's in
organically
your
be able to, and then you'll click on that, and then you'll look at the person's content and wonder, okay, well, I want to follow them. I want to follow them. And I really, if you are a YouTube reseller, or if you're just a reseller on eBay or reseller on Instagram, if you do not have an Instagram feed to supplement and to promote your items, you're really doing yourself a disservice. There have been so many studies that show, as far as marketing and things go, as if you're doing a lot in your stories, your Instagram stories, or your reels on Instagram, those are the things that are getting seen. People are looking at the stories. They're looking at the reels more so than they're looking at your posts.
Well, in Instagram now, the latest algorithm info that I have is that Instagram is weighting video features more heavily than what we call a static post, which is just posting a picture.
Right.
So you'll look, like if you look at my shop, the traveling button, you'll see a lot of my previews are now in reels, which I find honestly really fast and almost more efficient anyway, to do previews this way. And they're getting thousands of views. So what's about reels, Instagram developed reels to compete with TikTok. And I know this is a lot of lingo and verbiage, but what you basically need to know is that reels are just little short 15 or 30-second snippets of different things put together to music. Okay. So it's a fun, quickie pie way of making a video to show people what you're bringing, what you found out picking. I do all kinds of different reels, and I find them really, honestly, as far as reach right at the moment, especially in how the algorithm is weighted and Insta, reels are where it's at, and IGTV. So all of the video features are wildly important right at the moment versus just posting a picture. Will your picture get some traffic? Sure. But your video or your reel is going to get more. And that is unfortunately just the way of the algorithm. And that's what I always let people know too. Do you take down, I did see Jody's question, do you take down what's sold, or do you leave it up to show your successful sales? So there's a strategy to that also. My personal strategy in my shop is that I don't like to have items cluttering up my shop that aren't for sale, that are already sold. So what I do, instead of deleting them, I actually archive them. And those are two different things. So when you delete the photo in the listing, it all goes away, right? But when you archive it, that is a setting that is in the three little dots at the right-hand side of your picture that you posted. And you can archive it, and it takes it away from your photo grid that shows in your shop, but you still, as the seller, get to see your archived items that have sold, which I find really helpful too, because if you have a customer that has said, oh, well, I got this Pyrex bowl and it's got like all these scratches and it's got a flea bite and this and that. Well, I can pull up my archive of my listing, which is the pictures of the scratch and the flea bite. And I can pull up my description. I can see who claimed it. I can see all the comments just like it was. And that way, then I can refer that customer. No, I'm sorry, I did note the flaws and the damage or whatever it is. And again, really handy tool. Plus, then once you archive all of those items, they're off of your profile, and that's great. So what I'll do then with a photo collage app is I will collage together all of my items that have sold from that last drop. And then I will post a sold collage and let people know your invoices have been sent and my shipping day is going to be Tuesday. So I find that communication is so key with keeping a good relationship with my buyers. letting them know, your invoice has been sent. Okay, this is when it's going to ship. And just letting them know, either a post in my shop or, a DM from me, which is even more personal if you have the time. So sold collages are great though. And that archive tool is everything. I love it.
And I think back to what you were saying, Sarah, I think within that community, every seller has a slightly different style, right?
Yes.
So like for myself, I'll make collages of items I've sold and put a sold thing in the middle, because
Right.
I also want my buyers to know my typical style of items that I sell.
Exactly.
So
Right.
like,
And still
I completely
see what
appreciate
people
your
buy.
perspective. Yeah, because Sarah's perspective is, hey, I don't want that to crowd and murky my page. And again, I think Sarah's been doing this for a long time, so Sarah may very well be doing the right thing. And I guess so there's not like a one size fits all answer to that question, because
Right.
every shop kind of has a different style of how they, and hopefully. And it is very disappointing when you'll go to claim an item that looks like it's still available, and it could be from like last November, and it doesn't mean it's sold. Hopefully the seller has updated, if not in the description, maybe it's in the comment that it will say sold.
Right.
I would always encourage comment on the post, message the
Right.
buyer, or sorry, message the seller. But again, it's unfortunately not a one size fits all answer.
No. And I think that's my personal method and what works for me, and especially the volume. I have 60 to 100 packages going out the door weekly. So for me to try to keep track and archive as I invoice is important. Otherwise, my shop just gets a little crazy. And I want to be able to show everybody the stuff that I actually have available. And for me, that's a good selling technique as well. Once I do archive those items that were popular and sold right away, instead of people having like the FOMO, fear of missing out, that they didn't get all these items that are sold, they're now looking at what's available. And so it kind of switches the mindset of, oh, I missed out on all of this, to, oh, look at the stuff that's still left, kind of thing. So that's my thinking and why I do what I do with archiving, and it seems to work out pretty well for me. I wanted to answer his question.
Yeah.
To understand if post items with prices in my IG account, is it a shop even though I use it for YouTube promos? Absolutely. Yes. Tacky as me. So once you have 10 to 15 items listed and some shop policies, you're a shop. So yes, there's no like hard and fast, like I've got to launch all this and make it a big to do. With my coaching clients that are starting out brand new, I let them know, once you're up, I want you to jump into it. I want you to start listing items with effective hashtags and pricing and get rolling. Because what is most important, just like Misty and Michael and Allison can attest, consistency. Whether you're on YouTube or whether you're on Instagram, consistency is key. So I have to constantly bring content daily to my Instagram shop, whether it's a video of me picking, whether it's a preview reel of my next sale, or just letting everybody know when my next live is going to be. I'm constantly creating content for my Insta shop, and not only just in static posts, like just the pictures, but stories and reels and guides. Guides is a new thing too that has been overlooked, but is kind of interesting, and I think will eventually catch on as well. So yeah, I could talk all day about Instagram.
There's all Instagram is constantly putting out different things. And Sarah and I were talking last night about the whole monetization thing. And we both, like,
I got monetized.
I did too. I got monetized today. I just launched it. So that is another thing that, I mean, again, when you're reselling, I mean, this is what we're doing. This is what I do. I pay my bills. I feed my family, put my kids through college. I mean, this is what I do for a living. So I want to try to maximize my hands in every little way that I can, and every little bit helps. And so, I think the more that you put, as you get out of it as much as you put into it. Yes. So if you're just like, well, I'm just doing the same old thing that I've always done because that's where I feel safe, and that's where, and I'm not I don't have time to put all of this time into Instagram, but you're really doing yourself a disservice, because it can help you grow leaps and bounds. And I know, I mean, it can be hard to start selling on Instagram. It can be hard to start selling on any platform.
Absolutely.
But you just have to be a part of the community and use those hashtags. I can't stress enough the importance of hashtags in YouTube, in Instagram, and Etsy. If you're an Etsy seller, you know that you got to use those hashtags because you got to add all those. I hate listing on Etsy for that reason, but is it important to switch up your hashtags when you're making?
Oh yeah, Allison, do you want to tackle that one?
Sure. So there is such thing, and again, so one of the things I wanted to offer is YouTube language of subscribing to a channel. The language on Instagram is you want to follow. So again, if you find a seller, you're like, I like their style, I like their vibe, you just follow, because then every time Sarah, the traveling button, if you follow her, every time she posts, it's gonna just kind of post for you, which is just like when Michael or Misty posts a new video or they're live on Instagram, that little round circle, it's going to be like multicolor of pink and orange and purple.
I don't know if it's going to be able to show up here, but I'll see.
So that means if
Misty,
you're following,
I can show you that too.
Mm-hmm.
So these little,
sorry, Misty, go ahead.
Those little circles up there, whoop,
mm-hmm.
they'll be highlighted, and you're like, oh, they're live right now. I'm going to join their sale.
Michael, I'm going to unfollow you so I can show people what it looks like. Oh, here we go. Okay. So there's Michael's Instagram, guys. Okay. Follow is right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To watch Michael's stories, you press on the circle up here. And to find Michael's reels and video, it's going to be under these tabs right here. Okay. And these are Michael's static posts.
It's true. That's my Instagram account.
There you are. I'm going back to follow you again, Michael.
So when you guys are asking about use of hashtags, so if you're a new seller, you would not want to copy and paste because Instagram recognizes that essentially like spam. And if they see the same hashtags used repeatedly, and I don't know what their magic number is, it doesn't seem like it's very high.
It's not.
You will be put in Instagram jail, which is essentially 24 hours that you can't do anything. You're like a passive, like you're in your like little bodysuit and you're
like, see me,
SOS, please help.
Yes, we've all been there. I've been to Instagram jail multiple times, guys. I'm an Instagram felon. Just kidding.
So if you're a new seller,
it happens.
You can use the same hashtags. Just don't put them in the same order. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I diversify because if I have someone who loves mid-century and I'm always using mid-century decor and I'm not doing MCM or I'm not doing mid-century mod and I'm not mixing it up, then I can be missing out on a really great buyer or a fellow great seller who, and again, after a year, and I am amazed that like, it's like a little card catalog of like you still stumble on these amazing shops and these amazing interior decorators that you're like, how have I not found this person until now? And then as you come to know your little community, there's been times where I'll send over a link like, hey, Kristen, this person has great farmhouse. Do you already follow them? Like you just kind of get to know different sellers' vibes. Absolutely. I describe myself as random and eclectic. So I kind of have a really potpourri style, like besides my random vintage holiday, and I love myself some kitsch, but then I kind of am like a who knows what of everything else. So I think that you diversifying your hashtags really kind of helps broaden your, and Sarah, maybe you can correct me, but I've heard that if you use hashtags that have around 300,000, that's kind of like the magic spot for the use of hashtags.
Yes. So when I'm talking to my coaching clients about their hashtag strategy, what I let them know is I want you to think of the hashtags as a search term for people to find you. So when you're thinking in terms of people finding you, you want to think about where is this item used? Okay, so if I'm hashtagging a piece of pink gooseberry Pyrex, I'm going to use Pyrex, Pyrexia, Pyrex for sale, Pyrex addict, all the different Pyrex hashtags. But there's a strategy to those hashtags like Allison's talking about. So when you go to put a hashtag on your post, it's going to auto-populate and it's going to tell you how many posts are under that hashtag. if you are using hashtags that are over 1 million posts underneath them, you're going to get lost. So most people think, well, I would want to use the hashtag vintage, right? Absolutely not. There's 54 million posts under vintage. You don't want to use the hashtag vintage. You want to use something more specific that's under 1 million posts. So you want to use vintage home decor, vintage home style, mid-century kitchen. And when you're thinking about that pink gooseberry Pyrex, think about, where am I going to use it? In the kitchen, mid-century kitchen, retro kitchen, vintage kitchen. Think about what it is. It's a dish. It's a bowl. Vintage bowl, vintage dish. So those are going to be my generic hashtags, so to speak. And I always let people know Instagram gives you, on every single post that you post, you can use up to 30 hashtags. Okay. Now, do I recommend that you do that? No. Your optimal amount of hashtags on a post is 14 to 28. And you do not want the same amount of hashtags on every post. So I may have 26 hashtags on this post over here. I may have 16 on this post over here. I may have 18 on the next post. And they're all going to be a combination of relevant hashtags. Hey, Becky, what's up? So you're all going to have a combination of relevant hashtags to your item, Pyrex, pink gooseberry, all that. But then your vintage, what I call generic hashtags, are very important too. And those are hashtags that are going to pop you up and get you found for people to buy your stuff, which are Insta Vintage, ISN member item, VTG is very effective. VTG 3 times. VTG pics. How I vintage. Show me the vintage. Vintage reseller community. I love vintage. Vintage lover. All of those are what I call generic vintage hashtags, right? It's something that someone might search under to find vintage. I had a customer recently tell me that she found my shop through searching the hashtag vintage reseller. Okay. Now, granted, I'm an ISN member. I sell all these different things, but she found me under vintage reseller because I used that on one of my posts. So you want to try to mix up the number of hashtags on every post. You want to change your hashtag strategy up on every post with a combination of item specific hashtags and generic hashtags, and combine that to let that boost your search result. The algorithm in Instagram, of course, is just like YouTube and others. It's very finicky. And if you have, let's say, 200 followers that are following your account, only like 7 to 12%, depending on the day, because they tweak this algorithm daily, mind you.
Yep.
Okay. So depending on the day, only like 7 to 12% of the people that actually follow you are going to see your post, which is why those hashtags are crazy important, because that's what's bumping you up and helping you get seen in other avenues other than people just following you. Insta doesn't do us a lot of favors, so we got to do the legwork ourselves.
Someone was asking too, Sarah, about becoming monetized on Instagram, and you have to have 10. Don't you? You have to have at least 10,000 followers on Instagram.
To be honest with you, I am genuinely not sure of the prerequisites to be monetized, because I hit 10,000 a long time ago. And I just recently noticed it, and it says that during my live sales, people can buy badges now to show
that's what mine
support,
said.
and their comments will be
highlighted
in my live sales. And this just happened this last week, so I don't even know what it looks like yet.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research on it before I agreed, because you have to provide them you have to have a
business license.
So you have to have that TID, that tax identification.
Yep.
So that is one criteria. Yeah, which is free. You can get one. You can get one. You
set up as an LLC is what I would recommend. Honestly,
I'm an LLC.
Set up as an LLC. I am too, Misty.
Yeah. So, which is a good idea, because it protects you. People, if someone wants to sue you, they can't go after your personal assets. They can only go after your business things. But anyway, so there are some criteria, but I don't know how they obviously can tell how many followers you have, but they're not going to be able to tell if you're an LLC or if you have a tax identification number. But so there are certain criteria that you have to follow, even if you are invited to be a part of it.
And I mean, I don't want to freak anybody out with Instagram selling because it sounds like a lot. It's a lot of like terminology and all of that, and it's really
Well, and
scary. But
honestly,
I will tell you,
on Tuesdays, they're getting a good, when on our three-way sales, they're getting a good taste. They're getting a good idea of how an Instagram live sale runs.
well, and yeah, our live sales are wildly popular, but don't feel like you have to just jump in and be an Instagram shop and know all this information and do it. I learned by watching others. I learned by screwing it all up and doing it the wrong way. That's why I always tell my coaching clients, I'm like, trust me, I've screwed it up most likely, and I can tell you what not to do. So I've been to Insta jail, and it's really not pleasant. So in getting a tax ID number, that's of course key, you know, in setting up any business that's going to generate revenue. But once you get over like $20,000, then PayPal is going to send you a 1099 for taxes. So that's when you have to really get serious and think about it.
And the other thing, like Sarah mentioned earlier, is that although our community is under Instagram Shop Network, there is this base of sorts, or we anchor back to a Facebook page. And on that Facebook page, all these questions, like I would just encourage you that I think that this is a great exercise in humility because we don't all know the answers, but at the same time, people are so supportive. So like, again, I feel like it's so interesting how things, and again, not to, you know, with Marcy Vintage Bulldog. So tell me about Instagram. And then I jumped into lives first and then knew I liked her style and of items and said, hey, do you want to? And we're all just kind of, we learn as we go. But I truly don't believe this is like, I know something and I'm not going to tell you. We're going to do our best. And there's all, hey, there's also value for Sarah does the coaching. So, and what is your coaching hashtag or your, what's your coaching?
On Instagram, I'm the Vintage Shop Coach, and it has periods, just like Michael's in between The.Cult.Of.Vintage, how his has periods. Mine's like that for the Vintage Shop Coach.
So I think I think there's value in having a coach and like investing into that process. But there's also going to be this learned knowledge that we have as a group that we're going to help you along the way. And I know someone said hashtag sounds like a lot of work. And I didn't sell a lot on eBay, but in my opinion, that would be like, in my opinion, not utilizing all your potential characters.
Yep.
Because they're trying to capture every potential, you know, viewer or buyer. So the hashtags are really no different than just adding a pound sign to any search that you would be using to help you find your item. So I would, you know, it's the, what do they call it? The process of analysis. Like if you're thinking about doing it, I would just tell you, like, message Sarah, message myself. I think Misty and Michael, you both can be found on Instagram as well. Like, and I know you two are very busy with YouTube, so they can send us our way. So I think that's the thing, is we've all been the newbie. And I think, like, again, you will randomly like find this amazing item on Instagram and I'll just post it to my story to be like, check this out, because it's just, it's a bunch of like, we're a bunch of fans, I guess is kind of the way to describe it. Like, you know, there's not really.
I know, and I'm seeing these comments, and it's things that I've actually, I know. Well, listen,
honey, it might not be easy and it might not be quickly, but damned if you can't do it. I have faith.
Well, I was gonna say, I get, I've gotten some messages from some of my people, and they say that they don't like the Instagram sales because of the chat. The chat disappears, and it's very hard because they're watching on their phone. It's very hard to see the chat. I mean, and let's be honest, that chat when you're on your phone is itty bitty. I mean, it is itty bitty 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 down at the bottom. I'm hoping that that's something that Instagram maybe will correct a little bit, but you can go on your laptop. You can go on a desktop or your tablet, and you can see the chat. It does show up a lot better. So, but if you're going to watch, that's the way to do it. You can still type in and chat. If you're going to buy, I would have another device. I would have my phone in my hand, because your what's that word I'm looking for? The speed, your internet speed's probably going to be faster on your phone or your tablet, but you can see, like I watched, because I'm the same way. I'm like, I can't see what And then I got on my desktop and I could
yeah.
see the chat. So there are ways that you can go on there and see it. But it's a different format. It is a totally different format. And I know that a lot of people don't like change, and it is very difficult but once you start doing it and once you start getting into it, you'll get the hang of it. If you're a buyer, you'll get the hang of it. If you're a seller, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it is such a niche community. It is, it's a different feel on Instagram. I feel like I am connected to my buyers, and some of my buyers have been buying from me for years. And even the new ones, it's nice because we have the advantage on Instagram in really getting to know our fellow sellers and our fellow buyers. Whereas, platforms like eBay and Etsy, it's definitely more impersonal and very transactional. And that's fine. Some people love that and like the efficiency and the speed and whatever. I feel like there's a place for everyone. And if you have not checked out Instagram shopping or selling as a seller too, it's a wonderful place to plug in because there are so many different ways to do what we do on Instagram. Whether I have a lot of people in ISN that do story sales. They'll just post items to their story with a price, and they don't post it in a static sale, and they don't go live. They post it to stories. And what I have found too with Instagram, it's totally different demographic. It is people younger than me. I'm 44 years old. So I am adapting and learning what people younger than me are into and liking and working around with that as well. But what I do love about being set up as a business account as a seller on Instagram is it gives you stats. And I know probably YouTube is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I know when my target demographic is going to be watching. My optimal nights to have a live sale or a static seller Thursday night. So, you know what I mean? I know you guys are cracking up.
I knew exactly what she was laughing at.
I love me some Tiger. He just delivers. And he sent me food today. So
yeah, you guys know you're not used to the serious face, Michael, because I am paying very close attention.
The one other button I think that it's important to know though too when you join Instagram, because I didn't know, to message somebody is the paper airplane. So it's not the chat. Like you're used to like a little, quote bubble. It's the thing that looks like a paper airplane. So if you're looking to message somebody, or because we're like, oh, just message us. Like, well, how do I do that? So
how do I do that?
The paper airplane is your way to essentially do that. So that's another
message on the profile. There's a little button that says message to. So either way, but don't be scared of Instagram selling. Don't be scared of the platform because honestly, Michael's looking for tips on how to claim things quicker. Fast Wi-Fi, Michael. But as far as it being intimidating, I know how that feels because that was me 7 years ago, starting from scratch. I, coming from the craft show circuit, trying to sell Christmas trees with brooches on them. People thought I was insane. And especially young people didn't want anything to do with me. But the more that you create your brand, not only by having cool stuff, but working your personality into your shop, showing people when you go picking, where you go picking, what's in your cart. I was telling, actually, I had a coaching client today that I was telling, the most likes I have on Instagram on photos are not things that I have for sale. They are pictures of what was in my cart from Goodwill. Those are the most likes. Those are the most views. Those are the things that are going to bump you up in the algorithm.
Yeah. And it's the same on YouTube.
Your buyers what you're doing.
It's the same on YouTube as well. If you post a video, your video title is a Goodwill video. Those are the videos that get the most views. Goodwill. And I'm just not it's bad will. I'm going to say it again. It's bad will. It's not Goodwill. But yeah, the cart shots are good. I mean, they're good for thumbnails.
We call them carties.
Yeah. They're good for thumbnails too.
Party.
Yeah.
Carties.
Yeah, they're good for thumbnails as well. I saw somebody had and it was a really good.
And I am sorry, I have not been looking at the chat because it's in the app that I'm in. It's in a different spot.
That's okay.
I have totally ignored the chat.
Well, there's a lot of good. There's
a lot of people are very intimidated by the hashtags. And I mean, it's just like, okay, if I was selling this ironstone on, which I'm not selling it, but if I were, I would post, you know, whatever it is I wanted to say about it, you know, and then I would just do hashtag ironstone, hashtag white vase, hashtag farmhouse. I mean, you're just sitting here and thinking about adjectives, basically. You're thinking of adjectives to describe the item, and it will show you, it'll pop up when you start typing it in. It'll pop up and you'll see how many tags that item has. And so you can kind of decide, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll use that one. Oh, that one's good too. So it does autofill a little bit. So you're able to, you know, to autofill it. And it isn't as hard and as scary as you think that it is.
So
yeah, one thing that
go ahead, Michael.
Oh, I just want to say really quickly, Sarah, just go completely out and then follow the link back in, girl. Just exit all the way. There she is. She's coming back. But one thing that I do want to say is that once I get the video posted, Sarah's Instagram link, Allison's Instagram link, Sarah's YouTube channel link will be posted, as well as the information link for the ISN members. I will make sure that all of that stuff is linked for you in the description of this video.
Thank you.
And I do want to say that if you do have a question that you do want answered, you don't have Instagram, how am I supposed to get a hold of her? Leave that question in the comments to this video. If I can answer it, I will be happy to answer it. If I cannot answer it, I will defer to Allison. I'll defer to Sarah. I'll ask Marcy or Stephanie. You know, again, I will make sure to ask an ISN. Exactly. So if you're not seeing the description, if the question's not being answered, it's just going by.
I just subscribed to your channel, Sarah. I wasn't subscribed yet.
Oh,
so now
thank
I'm
you, Misty.
subscribed.
Thank you, guys. Yes, so I was super excited to get the YouTube up and running, just to be able to have another avenue to show everybody picks and finds and all of that. And then the goal eventually is to do some live sales here on YouTube also, with Michael and Misty, and I want those guys over on Instagram with us. So I think this is a fun fit for all of us.
Which reminds me, Sarah, I need to ask you a question when this is over. So just don't want me to forget.
Yeah, no problem.
But I think actually, Sarah, you bring that point up is something really good. And it's interesting that somebody hasn't asked the question yet. And I can appreciate it because I think it's a little bit, we don't know how it would come across. And I think the inevitable question is, why are we as YouTubers having Instagrammers
I can already hear it now. I can hear it now.
And I appreciate everybody being respectful enough, because you don't want to come across as being rude, but it is a very legitimate question. So I'll go ahead and ask that question so that we can talk about it. And I will say this is that I have, obviously, most of you in the chat have known me from being in the YouTube community. I have been on YouTube on Instagram for 6 years, not as The.Cult.Of.Vintage. Now, as I've gone into The.Cult.Of.Vintage, I have gone and followed a lot more vintage hard goods Instagram sellers. And in doing so, I have attended their live sales. And in attending their live sales, I have gotten to know those sellers just as I have with YouTube. There is a very strong community that resides within Instagram, just like it does here on YouTube. And I have pushed for a merging because I do believe that those communities don't have to be isolated. I think that we could be an even bigger and better and stronger and more diverse
bigger, faster, stronger.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm with you.
Kanye.
I feel the same way about our community.
I got the spirit bumps, y'all. That's right there. That's the Holy Spirit coming out. them spirit bumps. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Come on with it. But I'm sincere in that. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And seeing these Instagram sellers and seeing the community that they have fostered, I'm like, well, this is just like ours. It's just on a different platform.
It is.
It's just on you have people that love to joke and get along and share stories, and they are in communion, and they have a love of vintage.
They find something anthropomorphic and they get so excited right along with you. And your husband is like early, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so great.
Because
you tune in on that.
I have found my tribe of people on Instagram. Like, I feel like the weird little things that make my heart happy, there's about 40 other thousand people on Insta that feel the same way.
Yeah.
And they're on YouTube too. And we all have the same interests. We all love our swung glass. We all love our Cupies. We all love our vintage left and bluebirds. We love those things. And so when we can commune with people, whether it be here on YouTube or Insta or merging, you know, our people, that's the most beautiful thing about this is getting to know people from all over the country, different walks of life that love the same weird stuff we love.
Yes.
What better is there? I mean, when I'm out at a flea market, I talk to other vendors. I talk to people that run the flea market. Like, I enjoy talking to people that like the same stuff that I do. And the older I get, the more fun that is for me to make friends. Because let's be honest, it's weird to make friends when you're this age in your 40s. Like, but I have really, Allison, you know, girl.
No, I hear you.
Allison and I are right there. And Michael, you're pretty much with us too.
Oh, honey, I'm there.
I might be the oldest.
These are my people. You know, Amy the other night, who always goes to our live sales, Amy Wildflower, she said, all my people, my fun people live in this little box. And I'm like, I get it, because some of the people I adore most, I've never even met in person.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I know you and I love you and I think you're awesome. So to me, what better is that, especially in the horrible years that we have all collectively put in the last 2 years because of this pandemic and having to switch gears. This started as a hobby thing for me. And now here I am, full time, all these followers, all these orders, all these packages going out the door every week. I couldn't be more grateful. And it's because of the community, not because of what Sarah did. Now, granted, I'm pretty damn awesome, but I'm not that awesome. I can't do it all by myself. You know what I mean?
Can I say something?
I need my people.
Guess what, Michael? I get to meet Jamie this weekend.
What? Oh, no, because she's coming out there. Girl, I don't know why you're going to move Indiana, Wisconsin. Jamie, girl. Oh, that's right. Jamie, you from Ohio, right? No.
Jamie's in California. Well, she's from, but she lives in California.
Isn't that the best, though, when you get to meet up with your vintage homies that you've met on the internet?
So excited.
Like, I know. I absolutely love it. And some of these people are my very dearest friends, genuinely. So I love having the community and the space. And then I find that the respect is just there. We don't have a lot of trolls or any issues or any grumpy, anything. And ISN, we don't do drama. If you're here for that, you're going to need to find another group. We're here for business, camaraderie, fun, and sales. And I think that's your avenue, boy, hit us up, because we're your people. Right, Allison?
Absolutely. Well, it's just gonna go off of what Michael was saying. I think it probably feels very counterintuitive. Like, why would you merge these two worlds?
You're making more competition for yourself.
Correct. But in my opinion, I actually think that it's just making all of us, like, as a seller, I'm no longer going to get the one that has a small little chip because it's no longer good enough. So I think to some extent it really, or you have the new collector who is like, hey, I can't afford the $125 long neck reindeer. Or whatever.
I'm on the search.
I was about to say, who could 120? Excuse me, Allison.
That was the single.
Oh, that was the single.
The single.
Yes,
oh, right.
No, but I feel like there's this counterintuitive, and I think it's a very odd thing that you kind of work through something that shouldn't be normal, right? Like because it doesn't probably feel natural. Like, why would I have recently found out that there's this amazing Instagram seller. Yes, ISN After Dark.
Well, no, I'm just laughing.
Allison, explain what ISN After Dark is.
Yeah.
So I think it may have been your original Instagram invitees of Marcy and Stephanie. And I also have to pull in Belligerent Cupid into this, Sarah, because
okay.
Sarah has a shop mascot that she can talk about in a little bit, but she has this
Is he there?
little cupie.
He's here.
Oh, he's here.
Uh-oh.
And Marcy had this little pink frosted tulip, I think little bud vase or some kind of candle. And I was like, that looks like a Pocono style hot tub for belligerent Cupid. Like it was, and at that point we were all new, right? I
The
think Michael,
Poconos.
you were on that
I was there.
Yeah.
You were there. We were all
and
there.
so I felt bad because we were all new. We were kind of all just getting used to the live thing. And I think afterwards I commented to Marcy saying, well, I'm sorry. I hope that didn't turn into like a dumpster fire. And at first, like, dumpster fire.
No,
And
it's
now it's a big
hysterical.
joke because ISN After Dark, it's just, we are take a big bite of humble pie, and there's been some decapitated left-ins, and there's been some very like
Things
non
happen. Things happen.
It's me.
there's been some like nursery rhyme books that might have some implied connotations that we will just, allow the audience to kind of dictate the conversation. And let's just say it, we have some sick, funny people who like to attend. So
And honestly, it doesn't get out of hand. It doesn't
No.
get stupid. Like
It's after dark. It's
nasty.
after when the children are in bed.
Yes, it's when you put the kids to bed, you come
That's
and
right.
hang out, and
Right.
we cuss a little. That's it. It's
Mhm.
just, we're just silly, and we're just kind of ourselves, and we have fun with what we're doing because life is so mundane. Why wouldn't we make what we love doing fun? So
And a little spicy.
yeah, a little spicy, a little naughty.
Well, and that's the fun
Sometimes
part
we get
about
those items that look a little phallic, and we have to
Right.
sell them and describe them, and the comments get silly.
And that's the fun part about the Instagram sales, is because on YouTube, you have to be very careful what you say. You have to be very careful. And on Instagram, it isn't as stuffy.
No, it's really chill. We just sit back and talk like friends, Allison. In fact, the night Allison and I went live last time,
No,
my
there's
face
food.
hurt so bad. Same with Steph and Marcy. These girls get me laughing to where I literally can't even keep it together. And we're trying to sell, something, and we're laughing. But you know what? That is the fun of it. Those are the sales I like to go to because I feel like I'm just chatting with my vintage homies, and I enjoy that. I like that feeling.
It's scary. It's always scary.
And sometimes there's the throwing the elbows, like Michelle from Comfort Cozy Living. She's been known to be a sniper. So sometimes there's some trash talking.
We're mad at her because she's out on the town tonight. She's out on the town. She's
Let her go do her thing
watching.
with her new knee.
I know.
Dancing.
She's quite literally brand new.
Body parts and all.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We'll see
I
here on
love
the
it
other
when we have people that show up to the sales. And again, it's the buyers that make these sales so hysterical. Like Allison and I can sit and shoot the breeze anytime. But we have these buyers that show up and throw down these hysterical comments. And I can't keep a straight face. I wish I can. I cannot. I am just as goofy as everybody else. So yeah, we just had fun and we crack up, and there's not a lot of false pretense. What you see is what you get.
Right.
I might have makeup on, I might not. It's just, you know what I mean? It's a very, nobody's trying to like put on airs. We're just a very chill, humble, silly, goofy little community. And what is fun is we have all learned the live selling part of this together. I started live sales only in January. So this is the live selling thing has still been new to me. And Amy's Rock and Pop Shop was really turned like high pressure tactics on me to start selling live, and was like, this is the next logical step for your business, and this is why. And we really kind of approached things from a business standpoint, and she pushed me to do it. And I have to tell you, I'm so glad that she did, because I have gotten to know my fellow sellers way more than I ever would have, and I adore them. And I also have gotten to know my buyers, and now I'm not nervous for a live sale anymore. I know that I'm going to go hang out with friends. We're going to show some vintage. It's going to sell. I'll invoice tomorrow, and there we go. You're going to have your stuff in like a week. So I don't know. There's just something about it. I have found my personal tribe. I love you guys.
It
It's
is.
the best.
Yeah, it is. And I know that a lot of people are like, they've directly told me, you're creating more competition for yourself. Why are you sharing all these sales? Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to promote other sales? And I mean, there's a way to promote people's sales. There's a way to promote yourself. It isn't during somebody else's live. It isn't during somebody else's sale, but we are in a community. And I think that, it's an important part of the community. And we're not all finding the exact same thing. It isn't a cookie cutter. I mean, unless you literally have cookie cutters that you're selling. I mean, maybe, but it isn't a cookie cutter thing. Like, not everybody is going to have the same things in every week and every sale.
Right.
And honestly, we are
Right there, Jody.
It absolutely, Jody girl. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And honestly, all of these sales do help each other. We're helping each other out because we're seeing what is selling, what is the market right now, what is the on trend thing right now. So I mean, it's community over competition all day long for me, and I think that it's such an important thing to do. You get what you give out of it. And it's just so important. I don't know. I love this community so much.
And Misty, I know we had talked about, I know you guys just converted to like a new sales format. And that is actually the sales format that you'll see in our Instagram lives. And I will tell you that particular format that Misty and Michael just switched to for their live sales is so effective. And what we found on Instagram when I first started doing live sales, I was watching Allison, Skeleton Keys, and I was watching Marcy, and I was watching how these girls were doing it. And Amy's Rock and Pop Shop during our first live had this awesome way of, if there's more than one person interested in the item, turning it into an auction. And oh, thank you. I love that. Good. I'm glad. I hope this is helpful. So during a live sale, turning something into an auction when there's more than one person interested in it is so helpful. And what we found is that when I would have a static sale and I would be listing something really popular in my item, and I had 25 people asking for tags for it, and that means that they wanted to be notified, by the way, when the sale begins. A tag means that I, the shop owner, tag you prior to the sale so you can be there for the new listing drop. So if I have more than 10 people asking for tags, likely more than 10 people really want that item. So what I found in being able to give everyone the opportunity to bid these items up is it made it just so much more fair. What I didn't realize is, as big as I had grown with now almost 24,000 followers, I was having 8 to 10 backups on every single one of my items, sometimes on sales, especially the popular items. And I was feeling really guilty, like, well, I've only got one left in Bluebird creamer to sell tonight and 18 people wanted it. And that makes me feel bad. So I felt like the fairest thing to do was start doing the live sales, getting my feet in there. And then the way that Allison and Amy and Marcy put together these live sales with more than one person's interested, we're going to turn it into an auction. And then the highest bidder can get the item. It doesn't take away from the fact that I'm still doing static sales in my shop and people can go claim an item with fast fingers. That option is still going to be there. But the live sales are actually, I found, benefited my customers so much more with the particular sales format that we're doing, because more people felt like they had an opportunity to snag an item versus the person that just had the fastest Wi-Fi, which I know on YouTube that can be a thing for you guys too, when you've got XYZ over here with like uber fast Wi-Fi and you're plunking along with, your Comcast that you've had for 12 years, and it's just not so great. And not everybody lives in the same area. Some people in rural areas and can't get better at Wi-Fi. So like, I get that. And I understand that Wi-Fi speed can be uber frustrating when you're trying to do a fast fingers claim on an item that you really, really want. So these live sales in this format has allowed us to basically let our customers dictate who gets the item and let everybody have a shot at it. And that way it feels more fair.
Yeah, it's a very mixed bag, because people because we get you know, people get upset because they think that, oh, the offer ups, that you as a seller, you're just trying to make more money off of a thing. And it's, I mean, but
Well,
you,
and
but
I mean, when we talk from a business perspective, when we really lay it out as a business owner, absolutely, I am a small business. I am just me and just my husband. And we are, you know, struggling our way through a pandemic, switching careers, literally switching careers. And a career I've been very happy and comfortable in for 17 years. So now, you know, getting into this, people also have to realize that I am in the same boat that you are, just trying to pay my bills and my car payment. And, you know, in maximizing profit that way as a seller, obviously that's a great thing, but it's not just about me. It truly is about allowing other people to have an opportunity to get something that they really wanted. So for me, I see it as it's actually a win-win for all of us.
yeah,
I
because
understand people, you know, get salty about whatever, but at the end of the day, you have to realize we are small business owners and we do love you guys and we have your best interests at heart. But we also have to have our own best interests at heart as well.
Right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and that is, I mean, this is what we do. This is what we do for a living. This is how we pay our bills. This is literally, you know, our jobs, our paycheck.
Right.
And so maximizing your profit obviously is going to help. But on that same note, it can also go the opposite direction. I mean, you could have something and you're starting it at a certain point and it doesn't sell for what you're wanting, or it may, I mean, I've had things that have sold, I've either broke even on it or maybe even lost a little bit of money on something. So it can go either way.
Yep.
It's a risk
Absolutely.
that you take. It's a risk that you
Well, I
So
think
what
the
I
thing
feel-
with it though, go ahead, Allison.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the interesting thing, and I don't know how this is on YouTube, but I feel like for myself, for live sales, I start my items lower than I would if I listed them, because from a time perspective, there is a potential it may take less time during a live.
Yeah.
Right now, I would say most live sales, I probably am averaging about selling 75% of my items. That means 25% of my items that I've listed at less than I would have listed if I had posted it statically weren't even claimed during a live. So I completely agree that there's items like the Left and Bluebird isn't going to go unsold.
Right.
But there are items, I'm not picking my undesirable items for live sales. I'm picking items that I feel like are going to be appealing to
Yes.
a good amount of people. So, and again, the challenge for live sales is like, I love the midday sales that you guys have on YouTube. I unfortunately do have a job, so I can't always watch. So it's like, shucks, I can't watch it during a live. But I will encourage you that if you're new to Instagram, most of us do save it to IGTV, which is going to be that TV with a little lightning bolt. And for most of us, we do a recap at the end of our sales that will review any unsold item, and then it just turns into a claim.
Yeah.
But if that item gets listed and I now invest the time to do my pictures and my hashtags, I'm not listing it at the same amount that I started it in my live
That's right.
sale. And that's again from a seller, like it might be like, well, that seems kind of sleazy. Like I'm not trying to be sleazy. I'm being very straight up that like live sales, in my opinion, is where you potentially could get a very good, you know, and the other challenges, I think we all know that like different parts of the country, like I'm amazed at some of the mid-century decor that the West Coast has that I never see on the East Coast. And there's going to be some kitsch that people can't get in other parts of the country that are relatively easy for me to find. So the thing is, geographically, like some things might look like they've been bid up so high, but then at the same time, most of us know that the item is either very difficult to find. Maybe you can't even find it on eBay or Etsy.
Right.
So there is truth to it. There are some items that get bid up very high, but that typically is for the serious collector who knows that they're not going to find that item, you know.
And who's
Well,
gonna
we all have other avenues too. It's not like I'm just doing live sales. You know, I've sold statically with just posts and pictures for 7 years, you know, so the live thing was a win-win for my customers and myself, but I'm still doing static sales with straight claims and prices, which are great. And my customers, it's a different demographic also that I've noticed that watch my live sales than actually buy from my static sales. Totally different customers, totally different. And what I have found, I did a poll, you know, on Instagram, on your stories, how you can do a poll and ask people what they like. So I did a poll asking if people prefer live sales to static sales. That's right, Amy. And
Well, that's something I want to talk about here in a second too. But go ahead, Sarah.
She's dead on. But what I found is that I have very, very like busy people like Allison that are doing like day jobs and kiddos and side hustles and all that. Those people prefer my static sales. People that have a little bit more time on their hands prefer live sales and prefer the entertainment side of it. I like both. I see value in all of it. But what's cool is I think there are ways for people to plug in whatever their niche. So if you're not into live sales and that's really not your thing, you know, a static sale is what you're going to pay more attention to. If you love live sales and the camaraderie and the feeling and the bidding, then that's where you're going to plug in and attend. But I think it's important for all of us to have different avenues for our customers to plug into, as well as sellers. You know what I mean? We want to try to diversify as sellers. And I may be on Facebook on Saturday night with Amy's Rock and Pop Shop, and I'll be live on Instagram with Allison one night, and then maybe I'll be in a flash sale that's static on Facebook, and maybe
you'll be on Thrift or Junk or Vintage Hunters sale.
Right. Yes, maybe I'll be on YouTube with you guys.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm trying to diversify while still, you know, really pleasing my fan base.
Well, and one thing I wanted to say too about the bid like you mean it. That is, and it is okay. So for example, tomorrow we're going to have, we are going to sell 10 items each is how many things that we have chosen. But we have other things on reserve. Like we have other things that we could potentially be selling tomorrow if we can get to it. You know, so if you have something and you're selling it, yeah, look, reserve. That like won't be, will that be sold tomorrow? Is that your extra?
I know I can, you know, I love a good tease, y'all. I can say if we don't get through it, this
But
beautiful
if we're at $15 for something and then someone's is $16 and then $17 and then the next bid's $18, it's like at least increase it by $3 and we're going to be here all day. So we're going to start with it when there's those dollar increments and they're like lasting a long time, we're going to start counting it down.
Yep.
We have to start counting it down. Otherwise, we will literally be here all day with listen, I understand you want to get things for a bargain, but that isn't how an auction works. I mean,
and I want to be clear about this because there, truth be told, there has been some hesitancy on our end to say that because we don't want to come across like we're trying to be money hungry. But here's the thing, and I want to get this because it's exactly what Misty just said. And the thing is that we, as the seller, end up risking losing money because we're trying to expedite it. So it isn't in our best interest to say, okay, we're going up by $1 increments, so we're going to have to start this count. It's not. It financially speaking, as a business, it's not good. It's not.
Right.
But we have to try to get the turnover and the number of items out to you guys. Otherwise, that is a big problem then as a business, because now we're sitting on inventory that we may or may not get to, and then we take a loss on that. So where we made the profit, we have to negate some of that because we have inventory that we're now sitting on.
Absolutely.
So it really is about turning the item so that we can get it out the door, even if it means I'm going to miss $5 because I gotta make the extra $5 on something else.
Yeah.
So please just know that.
Well, and what Misty's talking about too, I totally get, because in these sales, we want to try to bring you guys the most amount of items in the most expedited amount of time. So when you have 3 sellers or 4 sellers or even just 2, you know, you're only going to get through a certain amount of items for that live sale. So to be able to keep the live sale moving, I know that's, Allison, that's one of our strategies. We don't mess around. Like, here's the item. If nobody's really interested in it, we're going on to the next one.
Yeah.
And we keep it moving because, we've got a whole bunch of stuff to get to and people that want it. And when we do those countdowns, that is the time to throw in your high bid. And I'm not talking by $1. If you want that fairy lamp, you put in what you're willing to pay for the fairy lamp. And I know we do just in case bids, and I know you guys are doing that too.
Tomorrow. We're starting it tomorrow.
Well, what I like about the just in case bids, and what is actually a really positive thing about that is, okay, so let's say Allison and I are in a bidding war over belligerent Cupid, and we both want him really, really bad. And Allison's max bid on belligerent Cupid is $95.
Wait,
right?
Sarah, can I stop you really quick? I want everybody that is primarily on YouTube to just clear out whatever is going on and listen to what Sarah is about to explain to you, because this woman is going to explain it to you better than I can, better than Misty can, better than the two of us are going to be able to explain it. Please listen to what Sarah is about to tell you, okay?
Okay, me and belligerent Cupid got this. So Allison and I, let's say we're bidding on this little guy, and the bid currently in the comments is at $60. Allison wants belligerent Cupid real bad, and we're counting him down. It's time to get on to the next item. So she throws in $95 JIC, which means just in case. She puts that in the comments. Now, does that mean she bid $95? Technically, no. That means if the next person bids belligerent Cupid up to 61 or 62, Allison is still going to get belligerent Cupid because her highest bid was 95. So let's say the last highest bid was $62 on belligerent Cupid, and her just in case was 95. She gets it at $63. Okay. The reason we do that is it's just like eBay. When you are bidding on something on eBay, you throw in your highest bid. I'm willing to spend up to $15.78 on this on eBay. So you type that in. $15.78 is my highest bid, right? Well, if it only got bid up to $9, I got it for $9. Same exact concept on these live sales and the just in case bids. When somebody throws out just in case $78 on this, that's not their bid. That is the highest amount they're willing to pay for this. So if you really want it, you need to throw out a just in case bid that's higher of $105, because that just in case bid is going to take it no matter what, because unless you go over 95, you're not going to get it. So that's why the just in case bids are nice, because you're not going to pay up to $95. You're going to pay up to what it got bidded up to. Does that make sense? And if it doesn't, in the comments, let me know, and I'll try to clarify.
Well,
Allison,
Randy's saying
to explain that.
Randy says no, eBay is not showing the highest bids. I think that's a concern, because when you're doing it on eBay, you don't know what the highest bid is.
Right.
Well, I think on the other side of that, and so at least on Instagram, we don't have a rule. Ideally, your just in case should be your max bid. Like,
right.
I'm willing to spend up to $108 on vintage or belligerent Cupid. And if someone else bids higher, that was my budget. That was my max that I'm going to be willing to pay. So typically, you should be putting out your best offer the first time. Right. On Instagram, someone could do a counter. So you are correct, Misty, that like you don't know the other person's best offer. But on the other side of that, as long as, so we have bid end, I think similar to the way you guys do. But with as long as you're the highest bid, whether including just in case gets in before your bid end, you do have the option to be like, well, my budget was 108, but I really meant 115. Like,
yeah,
and
I changed my mind. I really want it really bad.
But I also, the just in case isn't meant to be put out there when we start bidding. It's only used once the countdown starts, because then.
Yes.
Correct.
What's that?
So your just in case bid should be during the countdown to ensure that you get the item that you want. So if the bid is at 78 and your bid is at 95, you may get the item for $79 if nobody outbids you. But you're willing to go up to 95 if someone does. So that's the thinking behind it. And I really like it because I know when I've been trying to win things and as a buyer myself, because I'm not just a seller, I'm also a buyer. I buy from all of my fellow sellers as well. And yeah, if you can, put that in at the last minute and get it in before that bid in comes, that's a rush. You just got the item.
Somebody else had said something like, well, resellers are trying to buy things at the last minute. I mean, and this may sound pretty harsh, but I'm not marketing my items to sell them to resellers.
No,
That's not, I don't want, I mean, if a reseller buys something from me and then they resell it for more money,
cool.
that's awesome. I encourage that. I do it, but I'm not going shopping and sourcing for things for another reseller to buy.
Oh gosh.
I want a collector to buy my items, not a reseller. But if a reseller buys it, that's fine. I don't care who I sell it to, honestly.
Same. Once it's left my hands, I've always said that you can set it on fire, run it over with a car, or put it in your house. Whatever makes you happy, it's yours.
Yeah.
So I don't care who buys my stuff. If it is a reseller, great, but you're probably not going to get a very good deal with me if you're a real reseller,
Right.
honestly. So.
And just to Sarah's point, you're going to probably put your highest bid to your belief as close as possible to the bid end. But I'm going to tell you, I don't know if this happens on YouTube, but you'll hear like 3, and now all of a sudden you're reading bid end, and you're like, they didn't say bid end yet, but my lag is different than the other person's lag. So
Yes.
maybe you've been on the sale long enough to know that there is this X differential between what you hear and what the same is true. So yes, it's kind of a strategic, you might not want to be putting your highest, and again, not to be like, but this is the intention for just in case is to prevent the disappointment of snipers.
Yep.
And there's no hating on snipers.
No, we love snipers.
Now,
Snipers are great. But if you really want it, put in a just in case for it. And I'm telling you that not to get you to like spend more money, but I mean, I'm a buyer too. Like if I have my heart dead set on an item, you better believe I'm going to throw my just in case in there when the countdown comes,
Yeah.
And I would encourage you guys to do that too. Not because you want it bid up to whatever, but it is good to throw down what you're willing to pay for it. And that way it ensures that you actually get the item that you want.
And I will, and I've done it too, and these ladies can attest to it, but in the Instagram sales, I might be the only one that is actively bidding, but even during the countdown, I will still I could be at $10, but we're on 5 and then I'm like 75 just in case, because I want it. And I don't know if somebody else is going to try to snipe me at the end of the day.
And they may.
And then because literally somebody could have come in while they're on 5 and went 11. And we all know what that's like on eBay. It's down to the last 10 seconds and you think you're winging it. And then the next thing you know, somebody else won it. And not only did they win it, but you know what they won it by? $1.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I feel you, Michael. I'm with you.
So Jean says, what happens when 2 people throw out the same just in case bid?
Then what we'll do in that instance, if that ever happens, and rarely does that happen, but if that does happen, then in that case, if my 2 very highest bidders have thrown out the exact same bid, then we will do another countdown. That is the only instance I will do another countdown. Otherwise, I'm not counting it down more than once. But if I've got a tie at bid end, I have to.
And I think that would probably, you set your own rules, because Sarah, I would say in that situation, it would be the first person who had commented the highest bid.
True.
So,
you could
we all kind of, we make those rules very evident at the beginning of our sales.
Yes.
There is a challenge that if you're coming in the middle of our sale, you may not get that. But I would just encourage, and Misty and Michael, I know you guys are very black and white, like this is how we're doing it. And so, because again, I hate recounts because we're trying to get through more inventory, and more countdowns equals less inventory. So,
and that's the only time I do a recount is if there's a tie. Otherwise, it's, what came in before the bid end. That's who gets it.
Yeah. So it isn't, people are going to hate it. They're going to hate it at first. I've had people say, I'm not going to go to your Tuesday sales anymore because I can't afford to buy anything. But it isn't always the case. It really isn't always the case.
Well, and what people I think don't realize too is the item that you have your eye on. Okay, for instance, Michael bought a pink little bendy pixie thing from me the other night, and he was the only person that bid on it. He was the one that wanted it. And it's on the way, by the way. It just shipped today.
Yay,
But
Demon Pixie.
Yeah, but point being is, you know, the item that you're showing up to the live sale for, you may be the only person that wants it. And you may think all these other people want it, but it may be only you bidding on it. And that's
Right.
kind of fun sometimes too. I can tell you, I've gotten some really cool stuff and scored some amazing stuff on Instagram live sales because nobody else wanted it or nobody else was watching. And it was something that I was like, oh my God, yeah, me, you know, bid $7. Yes, please.
That's
You know,
Sarah's husband,
so
everybody.
Yeah.
that's my hubby. My husband and I do this together also. And
The
I
looker
couldn't do it
upper.
without him. He is the back end. He is my back room, back end.
He's the looker
production
upper.
manager. Yeah, he's amazing and shipper extraordinaire. That man can ship anything. So grateful for him.
But that was too, and again, this is another one thing because it's like, you know, going to the sales. I started going to the Instagram live sales before I was selling on YouTube. So it's not, you know, I very much viewed what was happening on Instagram as only as a buyer. And I liked it as a buyer because
Yeah.
I felt that I had a greater opportunity to get something. And then as we and see, here's the thing, because this whole offer up thing came from Instagram. Okay, it didn't just magically appear one day. It was an adaptation of what was already happening on
Already
Instagram.
happening. Right.
It was already happening. I don't want to break any hearts or, you know, but dispel any root, but that is the truth. Okay,
Yeah.
you're hearing it from here first. It was already happening on Instagram. And the reason that it was brought over to YouTube is because it's fair. It is the only way to try to get as many people an opportunity, just
Yep.
as Sarah said earlier. If I have one thing and I know, like, this ain't no cheap piece of glass,
No.
you know, 20 people might want this and I'm gonna be like, only one person can have it. Good luck.
Right.
At least you have an opportunity. And don't
opportunity,
think that somebody else is going to outbid you. Yeah, but guess what? At least I had a shot at it. I'd rather at least have a shot at it by getting down in there and bidding away at it and then getting outbid than being the 20th person trying to claim something, thinking I'm the first person, having to exit the chat, come back in and be like,
Yep.
oh my God, my lag is so bad.
Right. The lag is so bad. Yeah. Well, and Misty, when we were talking last night, made a really good point too. When we've all started these businesses, you guys have to realize, like, this started as my side hustle, okay, and has evolved as the years have gone on into something much bigger than I ever anticipated. And I know Misty probably feels the same way. Like, I'm at almost 24,000 followers on Instagram now, and I can literally barely keep up with my DMs between customers, ISN, and everything else that I deal with. So for me, live selling, the auction format, all of it, it was the next evolution in growing what I already do. And Misty, I know for you, this only makes sense because you guys have 200 to 300 viewers during a live sale. How fair is it for one person to get an item when you've got 18 backups on an item?
Yeah.
This only makes sense. You know what I mean? And I think it's actually really cool and really beneficial to your customers on YouTube that you've gone this way. And again, you're always going to have a few salties at first, and that's okay. Not everybody's going to
Well,
like
and
everything.
I think the
Not
thing-
everybody's cool with change, but at the same time, you guys have to realize Misty's like running a very, very great business. She's a lovely human being, and yeah, you have the opportunity now to get more of what you were wanting. So like, this is actually a win-win for everybody.
It is, but I think the thing the thing about it that I don't like is people saying that, oh, well, they're just trying to make more money.
Well, people are always going to say
But
that.
I mean, that's what we're a business. I mean, but the thing of it is, Michael could hold up that piece of glass and say he paid $25 for that glass at an antique mall. Okay, say he did. And he's holding this up and he says, okay, I'm going to start this at $25 because, you know, you at least want to get what you paid for it. And
Right.
maybe nobody else wants it and he sells it for $25. So,
Right.
I mean, you have that risk.
And then you're just breaking even.
Risk.
Yep.
And you're just breaking
there.
even.
I've done that.
But you're not really breaking even because then you have to ship it. So you've got the packing material and that costs money and the boxes and all that.
The time alone.
The time.
The time alone. The time alone. You know, this isn't, you guys, that's the thing. Like when we, okay, so an Instagram live sale is, let's say, 3 hours. Our Tuesday sale is, let's just say, 3 hours for the sake of consistency here. Okay, so we are up on camera for 3 hours. That doesn't, and here's the thing, I think that the four of us would agree that we love going out, we love the shopping, we love the, I'm not going to count it against it. You know what I mean? I'll be, but it is time, but it's fun for
It's
me. I
Yeah.
think for most of us.
Oh yeah.
But the time on camera plus the time to pack it, ship it, invoice it, take it to the post office.
Clean it.
A 3 hour, oh, don't, oh yes, I
Don't
learned that I
forget
have to
cleaning.
make sure to clean everything.
Same.
But, you know, a 3 hour sale can be a 9 to 10 hour venture.
Yes, and
Yeah,
it is.
I mean,
Honestly, Michael is preaching truth, and that is the behind the scenes that most of us as really pro sellers don't show you unless we do like a reel about packaging or shipping or something. This is an intense amount of work between the sourcing and finding the deals and getting to them and actually buying them, unpacking them and have your house full of peanuts and packing paper and bags. And then the storage space to get organized, put it into bins, figure out what sale is going to go into what. And then, you know, the time to clean the items, get all the gunky stickers off, take all of, you know, and repair things. Like my husband is a master at repairing old clocks and different things. So we put a lot of time into our items. And yeah, of course we want to try to, you know, get the most profit as a seller, but I wouldn't say that that's like our main, that's not who I am. I'm not out just money, money, money. I love my customers and they know it. Misty's customers love her because she treats them like gold and they know it, you know? And so
I appreciate them. I mean, that's why
right.
You start to feel like you personally know who your customer is. And like, I talk to my packages, like if I'm shipping out something for Randy girl, I'm like, well, you're going to go to Randy's house. And then, I mean, I talk to my customer. It's just, I don't know. I'll put in a 10 to 15 hour shipping day sometimes. I mean, I'm all day shipping, but I like the
Same.
shipping. So I'm not going to lie. I mean, I do like shipping, but you have to make shipping fun for you. And whatever way that is.
Whatever way that is, we put on gangster wrap and get it done.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
I like the wrapping. I like to wrap things in bows. I like my customers to have an experience. Like when they open it up, they see that they bought themselves a nice present. And to me, that's my way of showing my appreciation to my customer. It's just a little simple gesture. Not everybody has to do it, but that's the way that I do it. That's the way that and it makes it fun for me.
Right. And that's what
Christy,
I'm saying. This is so much more than just a money grubbing, trying to max profit business. This is like, I'm thinking when I'm going out picking, I'm like, okay, I found this item. I know Willie's going to love this. That's one of my regulars. I found this item. Oh my gosh, it's a cool clock. I know Amy's going to love this. So this business is so much more than just raking in money. And I wish I could tell you that we're all getting rich here, but we're not. That's not it. We're just small businesses.
Well, we're reinvesting back into our business.
Absolutely.
You know,
And we're rehoming the coolest stuff. That's the neat part of what I love about what I do is, yeah, the money is cool and it's supplemented. And I'm super grateful for that during a pandemic. But the cool part of this to me is finding these things that have been buried in somebody's house for 50 years. And now I'm getting to send it back out into the world in tissue paper and bubble wrap, and it's going to find its new home. And there's something very, very fulfilling and satisfying about that to me.
it's a full circle thing. Yeah.
It is. I love it. I feel like and yes, it's just stuff, but we're all collectors and we all have our particular things that like we really get excited about. And that's what's cool about this is you get excited about it. You get to translate your excitement to your customer. And then if we're live selling, you're going to see how excited I am about it. And then you get the opportunity to buy it in an auction format. And so it's really, I'm trying to, I guess, in how I've run my business and ISN and everything else that I do, I'm trying to please the most amount of customers while being fair at the same time, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, too. And Chrissy had a good point. And I don't want to make it seem like it's a negative thing. The point being that, being a small business, you feel like your own boss, but the truth is that you have 20,000 bosses. And I don't mean that and I don't think that Chrissy did either. That's why I put it up there. But there is a level of commitment as a business that you want to give to, which is customer service. But you want to go above and beyond that and making sure that people get things like Misty does do, as people have said. She does beautiful packaging. You've got the organza, you've got the package toppers, the tissue paper. That's her way of demonstrating an appreciation.
Yeah.
The way that I do it is I literally get your stuff out the next day.
Yeah.
That's the only way I
do that too.
I love that, Michael.
I do that too.
No, but that, you know what I mean.
I know
Like,
what you mean.
that's how I
is
take
you're a
it
fast
serious. That's how I demonstrate my appreciation.
Yes,
But that
absolutely.
it becomes then I'm not just chilling out, sitting back, being like, cool, let me get that money. No, I got to do something to get that money.
Well, and if
Like,
and you think about it too, if you're going out sourcing, I'll go out sometimes, spend $800-900 on a weekend of buying things. So you have to reinvest back into your business, whether that be the tissue paper that I'm buying, or organza that I'm buying, or lighting, or utilities. I have a 2,500 square foot building that I have to pay taxes and utilities on. So, now that Emma's home, I have an employee. So, you do have to put things back, and you have to reinvest things back into your business. And I think your customer service, as far as getting your items to your customers as quickly as you can, it's noted. They appreciate it. Is the USPS sometimes very slow at getting them, even though you've shipped it the next day? Yes. And careless. I am going to start. I've been when customers, and they're like, "Thank God you wrapped this great," because it literally looks like it has been kicked. There's a hole in it. So they're sending me pictures. I am going to probably start really really USPS. So because there's no reason why those packages should look that way. Like they've been through a meat grinder. So
it almost like sometimes fragile is kick even harder.
I never thought packages fragile ever.
You don't? I write glass. I've stopped doing fragile and just started writing glass because I'm like, fragile could be.
I pack it glass, but I don't mess with fragile anymore.
Yeah, I pack it for war and I don't label it anymore because I feel like
you have to pack it for war.
You
have to pack it for war.
Yep. True story. Yep. And it got really bad last October. I noticed I had more packages broken last October than I ever had in 7 years. And I think it was just how overwhelmed the post office was. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With the Rona.
With the Rona. Yep.
Rona.
For me, I feel like, at this point, I'm just super grateful to be doing what I'm doing. I'm grateful people enjoy coming to our live sales and appreciate the fact that ISN means you're going to have a good buying experience on Instagram. And yeah, I'm just intensely grateful for the network. I would be nowhere without my network. So,
oh my gosh,
Jamie, you know what they call that? Careless.
Oh Lord.
Careless.
Ugh.
One of the things I was going to offer from earlier is there's a question about, it sounds like, is the live sales really inundated on Instagram? And so I was just going to comment to that as far as this Instagram shop network that we're referring to, our group of sellers that sell under that umbrella is #ISN live sales. If you follow that hashtag, we put out a weekly schedule that will tell you who is selling when. At this point in time, we have a fair mix of sellers that we don't have a cap on how many sales a seller can do in a week. So, Sarah, I think you've been a beast lately, and you've done up to as many as 3.
Mm-hmm.
I know some
Amy's
sellers
Rock Pop Shop has done 4 in a week. Yeah.
Right. So you can, if you follow that ISN live sales, that will tell you. And I would say on most of our live sales, a little different than YouTube, is it depends, 40 to 80. And sometimes a seller might only have 20. I truly believe, and this probably sounds a little hokey, but the right person will be at the right sale to
Yeah.
get the right thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't necessarily feel like for myself, I don't feel like the highest number always means it equals my best sale. Like my best sale sometimes is those conversations. Sometimes it's the ISN after dark. Sometimes it's recognizing that like we are all people who are yearning for that connection. And sometimes you're just meeting people where they're at and they're like,
Yep.
I've
And we're
had a
just gonna be
crappy
silly.
day. Like this is my, thank you guys. Like, so it's just,
Yeah.
again, like it is a very, like, as Sarah said earlier, it is a business, but it's a very symbiotic venture that like
Relationship.
it
Relationship.
is, but I truly
Yeah,
believe I
good
get
word.
as much as I give. And unfortunately, like the thing, which I love the things, which are vintage. But at the end of the day, the thing that I've grown even and gained even more is these relationships that I did not have a year ago. So,
Agree.
but go ahead, Sarah.
I couldn't agree more. I feel the same way. And Allison was such a great mentor when I was getting ready to go live in January, because one of the first things she said to me that has stuck with me, and I repeat it to my coaching clients all the time, and I think we talked about it last night too, was it only takes two people wanting the same item. You may have 10 watchers, but if you've got two people that want the same item, sometimes that can really make for an awesome, fun live sale. So yeah, it's really a fun community. I love our community, and I'm really thrilled to bring on you guys YouTubing and get you guys doing sales with us, and we're going to come do sales with you. And yeah,
I'm excited to have
really
a night sale on Instagram. I'm looking
We're gonna do
forward.
it.
I never get
It's
to
gonna be
have a
amazing.
night sale.
Ooh.
Yes.
Thrifter,
I think that's
junker,
why
vintage,
it probably
hunter, after dark. Uh-oh. Is the
Yes.
world ready? I already know. I
But I
already
think
know.
that's
Yes.
why it can
I
work, right? Because I don't think it is competition. I think it's going to be a great compliment and a
No.
great, like, it's, again, like what they said earlier, like, I think it's one of those things where this is not competition.
No.
This is
No.
like, oh, you didn't
Mm-mm.
find what you're looking for? Well, let me show you this other shop. And Sarah, you and I have talked about, like, you know, competition would be like a store having a sale and expecting all the stores on the same ship to shut down. Like, that's not the way this works. So, like,
No.
if so, as far as like the number of sales under our umbrella, that likely as more sellers want to do live sales, there might be the potential that there's two shops who have a sale at the same time. We're going to do our best that
That
we may
happens.
not have.
You know
We
what,
might
though?
have
And
similar
the
styles.
larger, yeah, the
Mhm.
larger we grow, we fully anticipate that that's going to be the situation, and we know that going into it. So,
And it isn't a fun thing. And
but at the same time,
especially if you are a larger channel or if I have a larger following, and then you decide, oh, I'm going to have a sale on Wednesday because I got this stuff. I'm just going to have a pop-up sale. And then somebody else has a sale going on, and then you feel horrible, but then your people are automatically saying, well, who does she think she is? She just thinks that she can just have a sale whenever she wants to. But I work for me. I'm my own. You have to do it when it's works best for your schedule. And
oh yeah, there's always going to be the haters, and you got to just look past that. I mean, unfortunately, that's just part of any level of success of selling, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, or whatever. You're going to have some salty haters that are just so jealous of your success, and they don't like you, and they want to find fault with everything that you do. And you know what? Block, ignore. That's
trust me,
like
I do.
my job. So I feel like with what you guys do, it is it's fun. We're connecting with people, and I like that. Misty, that's a pay-per-view. But I mean, yeah, I don't view it as competition, because Misty's success that she sells on Instagram is my success, and Allison's
Yes,
success is
absolutely.
my success, and Michael's success is my success, and my success is y'all's success, because we're a team and we're focusing on the same kind of stuff. We love the same kind of stuff. We're selling the same kind of stuff. And if we view each other as competition, that just seems so counterproductive, because I don't have the same things that you have this week, and you don't have the same things I have this week. So how is that
Right.
competition. If
Well,
anything, we're sharing buyers.
And we have to leave it up to the buyers to choose who they're going to. And sometimes they'll watch, like they'll have it on their TV, on their phone, on their laptop. They'll have like 3 or 4 sales going on. I don't know how they do that, but they do. But it isn't up to us who comes to our sales or who doesn't. That's up to the buyer. And the buyer is going to see the kinds of things that you're buying and the kinds of things that you're bringing each week. They know the kinds of things that they're going to get each week. So they know certain sellers sell different types of things. So, and I'm trying to learn that, but I feel really bad, but at the same time, I can't.
You are growing your business and you're an amazing business owner and people love you. And the ones that don't can get lost.
Well, I was going to also offer that I think it's very interesting because like Amy Wildflower, she and I both wanted one of your items, Sarah, last week. And then at the end of it, like it's like good sportsman like I can't even talk, but if you go to a live sale mine, I'll need some phonetic help every so often. But anyways, she heard Just In Case offer, just so you all know what Just In Case can look like, was $900 for this pirate. She wanted it and she was not going to take no for an answer.
And she got it.
And she got it. But I'm happy for her because you know how serious she was about that pirate. Like I really wanted it, but I didn't want it as much as her. And then at the end of the day, like I sent her a message. I'm like, I'm so happy for you, but you know where you can sell it when you don't want it anymore. Like, and so if you are looking for the competition, like I'm not trying to say don't come. Like, of course, check it out, but maybe it's not the right vibe and community for you because it might feel like too much like rainbows and puppy dogs. But like if you're looking for that like saltiness, like it probably won't be there. You'll figure it out. It won't be the right fit. So it really is kind of like a bunch of like love and hugs. I hate that you got that pirate, but I still love you. Like
exactly. We all have mad.
And I just secretly block those people anyhow. You know what I mean? You can be like, thanks.
Oh, that's so honoring, Michael. Michael be blocking to get his items. That's so honoring.
Their bid didn't go through. No.
See it. I don't know. Well, this has been honestly so cool and so fun. And I am so grateful for the opportunity, Misty and Michael, for letting Allison and I come on and just palaver about our Instagram network.
We thought it was very important.
Hang out with us and check it out, you guys. That's all I have to say.
We thought it was very important because I know that there are so many more people that are in the YouTube community that aren't necessarily watching the Instagram sales or really knowing that they're even out there. And it's just y'all need to get on the train.
The same to my Insta peeps that are watching tonight. Michael and Misty are killing it over here on YouTube, you guys. That's why I just started a YouTube channel because I want to network with these successful, amazing people.
Right.
So,
and Michael, how many followers, Michael, and how many weeks?
I know.
Do tell, Michael. I want to know.
Someone will tell us.
Brag a little, Michael. Humble brag. Come on, let's.
I know for sure I'm at least at 4,300, and it's been
just
3 weeks.
Woo-hoo!
Michael, dude,
now listen,
amazing.
Now listen, that is not the norm. Okay, that's not the norm.
Well, Michael isn't normal, right? So
no, I'm definitely
Michael
not
isn't normal.
I mean,
but I'm just saying that's not normal, but that is because of the cultivating that Michael has done and establishing these relationships, in my opinion, like
networking.
And that's the important. That's the thing that I want to. Okay. Weird emotion. Okay. So that was just the thing. No, but seriously, I really do. It is a blessing. And I would like to think that sometimes you can't but help question, well, why me and how come it came so easily? I know that. And I would like to think that I have been able to make friendships, true friendships. And it is through those friendships that have sincerely and truly provided me the platform. And it is to every single person that is in this chat. You are, I am, every person on this screen, every person in that chat. We are all equally a member of this community. And the bigger and the stronger that we can get, the longer and brighter that this can burn. And just, I mean, how good do we all feel?
So good.
You
Yeah,
know, like,
you're
and
getting me all misty, Michael.
it's
Jeez.
not a competition. I
No.
wanted to have Sarah on here because immediately the first time I was like, I like this chick. It was just that, and the same thing with Allison and Marcy and I
Ditto.
just immediately gravitated, and it just
Yeah.
so happened that it just felt real. Like it was like, oh, I have no
Because it
problem.
is.
This
It's
is just,
authentic.
It
yeah.
is. Well, there are just certain people. I mean, there are people that we're all in the same community, and we will support one another and do the best that we can. But there are some times that you just click with certain people, and then you can build.
Yes.
You have that basis to build that close bond and that close friendship. And that doesn't mean that everybody that's in this community are going to click with one another. This community is very large, and
diverse.
it's very it's very.
Yeah.
And so we can't possibly be like
Maybe.
clicking. I know. But we can still all support each other the best way that we can. But yeah, it's amazing how close you can become with someone that you've never met face to face.
Yeah, some of my best friends. I'm telling you. Yeah, I love you guys. You know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And then now we're
not
getting
a
just
favorite.
we can meet. You know, like we can travel.
And
We
I love
can
to
do
travel.
things.
I'm a
So
Colorado.
yeah. Yeah, it is. And Randy girl's a good, genuine person. You get to know, that's the thing. And you get to know your customers, and I don't know. It's just cool. It's just cool.
Randy's an
And
old
I'm telling
PETA.
you,
She's
that
a
is the
PETA. She knows what I mean by PETA. She's a PETA. She's a PETA, Randy. That one. You got to watch out. Sarah, Allison, Randy Holman over there in the chat. You got to watch out for her. Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's okay that I do put out a shameless plug and just also a safe invitation for those of you who haven't done an Instagram live sale, is that Sarah and I Sarah has some sales this week but Sarah and I are doing a sale next Tuesday. So we will kind of help you walk through this stuff. So it's just been, thank you, Michael and Misty, I have to thank
the cool thing about
you.
Instagram sales too, and that it's something that I like to do, and I wish YouTube had this capability. But if you get a notice from me and I'm sharing their sale, because on Instagram you can direct message people that there's a sale going on. There's a sale going on, and so that is such a cool way to show support for another reseller. Is when you see that someone's having a live sale, you're sharing that to everybody. Like if you're like, okay, I know that Kara would love to attend the sale. They've got things in here that, I know that, oh, they got all kinds of deer. Oh, I'm going to make sure that Rainey knows about this sale going on right now. So, I mean, that is a way that you can support your friends and your community by just getting the sale into people's eyes, because
absolutely,
especially if people are still just trying to figure out and navigate Instagram, if you're sending it directly to them, it's like, well, what is this? Oh, I'm here, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the Instagram community, and we all share for each other, and we all try to promote for each other. And even like during my own live sales, I will tell people, okay, head on over to so-and-so shop. I'm getting done at 9. They're going live at 9. Head on over to Allison and Marcy. They're next. So we try to do that too in our sales, promote for each other, and just give each other a shout,
Amy, don't behave, because that would not be a true representation of ISN After Dark.
Amy,
did Amy
buy that? I was want to know, did you buy that Liberace, Amy? Because I need that in my life. Because she probably didn't buy it. Why would she? Like, I'm not buying it. I would buy that though.
Saying she's going to behave. It ain't going to happen.
I know, right? That's
welfare check if she started behaving.
Oh my gosh.
Well, guys, I know we ran a little bit past our 10 minutes, but I think 10 minutes by our 2 hours, but I do think that it was well worth going past it. And you know what, Sarah, Allison, the thank you goes to you ladies for coming on and joining us today. It really was a pleasure. And to everybody.
Oh yeah, you've sent that to me.
What?
No, never mind. Forget. Just keep going.
You sent it.
Pretend I'm
You
not
sent-
even here.
Yeah, I saw it. Don't worry. But and Misty, of course, thank you for sharing your idea and allowing me to host it here on the Cult of Vintage. You know, the thanks goes to all of you ladies. The thanks goes to every single person down there in the chat, because seriously, you guys, without you, we wouldn't be able to be up here. So the thanks really and truly goes to all of you out there. We do
Absolutely.
appreciate it. We love you all. We hope you all have a good night. And
Yes.
ladies, is there anything I'm forgetting or anything that you want to
Come to our sale tomorrow.
I am going to plug.
do that?
Oh, yeah. I have a live sale tomorrow on Instagram. If you want to see me in action, come over to Instagram to the Traveling Button. My live sale is with Mid Mod Marion. So watch out for some Viking glass. Watch out for.
Did you hear that, LaDonna? LaDonna.
I already
Viking
tagged her.
glass. Oh, okay.
I already tagged her.
Marion has the coolest stuff ever. So we are having a big live sale tomorrow evening. And then the next day after that, we're having a regular static sale called ISN Groovy Vibes. That is the hashtag. If somebody wants to type it in the comments, ISN Groovy Vibes will be Wednesday. And it's all 60s and 70s stuff, guys. So that's going to be a super fun sale to shop the hashtag and claim some items that you find. And I'm trying to think, Allison, when's your next sale?
It's actually next week with you.
Yay!
Work-life balance. My daughter's birthday is this coming weekend, so it was a
cute.
pause for live sales. So I resume next Tuesday with you, and then
Nice.
yeah. So we
Can't
look
wait.
forward to hopefully seeing and getting to meet, and
Yes, I would love to see any of you. If anybody needs coaching, one-on-one help with Instagram, I am the Vintage Shop Coach. I am happy to help you. I am here. I am affordable, and we can do some one-on-one coaching and get you where you want to be. So,
And
thank
again,
you
guys, yeah, Allison and Sarah are both going to be, I will have both of their links in the description down below. Again, if you have a
Thank you,
specific
Michael.
question, you do not currently, of course, if you have a specific question, maybe you don't have Instagram, leave it in the comment sections after the video gets posted. If I can reply, I will reply. If not, I will make sure that you get the answer that you are looking for. All right. So
Awesome.
Tuesday is the Power Day. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Join us. Three's Company. Sarah,
Yay!
again on Instagram. It's on your channel. Is that correct? Tomorrow night.
It's going to be 8 p.m. EST.
EST, guys. You got 2 good sales. We'll see y'all then. All right.
All right. I can't
Thank you,
wait.
Good night,
guys.
everyone.
good night.
Good night.
Bye.